Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Russell Jackman. Mike McDowell is off today. At each commercial break, we are going to ask a trivia question, so you want to make sure that you stay tuned for those trivia questions. And, of course, our funny thoughts for the day and our silly joke of the day. Let's see. In the next segment, we've got a lot to talk about. Football, basketball, that's mostly what I've got. A lot of football, a lot of basketball. What do you got? What do you got for us, Russ?
Oh, I always have strange news for people.
Okay, that's always that's always good
Yes.
with that. Okay, and let's see some of the things we want to cover. Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss for LSU sounds like it's quite a difficult breakup. But he's getting some massive contract. I mean, LSU is paying the prior coach $54 million for his buyout. How do these guys?
And he gets to coach LSU in the tournament if they're in it. So and they'll probably be in it. So
Lane doesn't get to coach Ole Miss if they get
Ole
in.
Miss, but he might have to face them in the tournament itself as coach of LSU. That is like incredible drama. It's almost soap opera-esque.
That would actually be pretty cool. It would be fun to watch the game just for that.
I know. I agree with that too. And then
go ahead.
I have the absolute killer joke of the week, but I'll have to wait for the next segment to unveil that. So
Okay. All right. And one of the things I want to talk about is what's happened to the Vikings, and the opposite, what happened to the Bears? They went from like the cellar to I think they got the best record.
I am worried about the 49ers' chances against them in about 3 weeks. That's going to be, and then of course, all the happenstances with the 49ers and playing against Cleveland and the Warriors talk. There's lots to talk about.
A lot to talk about. All right, audience, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman. All right. First of all,
okay. Now I've got a Sports Econ 101 burning exclusive. Okay, you're the only one that knows this for broadcast purposes, other than my Facebook page, and that is after yesterday, I beat the number 1 team in my fantasy football league to become the number 1 team in my league. I am now 10-3, and I throttled my competition.
Wow.
A guy named Paul, I have no idea who he is or where he lives or anything about the guy whatsoever. But he was 10-2, and I'm beating him by like 50 points into the ground.
Okay, so I thought last time you told us whatever you do the opposite.
As far as one of my fantasy, I have more than one fantasy team. I have one fantasy team, and it's so weird. They're absolute Jekyll and Hydes of each other. My NFL team that I have is 10-3. Okay. And my other fantasy team, which is part of like a league that was developed by this programming guy from like the 1990s. I've been in that league for like 14 or 15 years, and I'm like the Cleveland Browns of that league. I can't get into the playoffs. I'm terrible, and I'm 3-10 in that league.
They call Cleveland the mistake on the lake.
Yes, and after Sunday's game, I think that. Do you know the last time the 49ers won in Cleveland was?
Well, they don't play them that often.
No, 4 times. They played them 4 times.
Wow, 1996.
What?
1996.
1984. That was the last time they won in Cleveland. Because the weather conditions are so brutal. And last time they played them a couple of years ago, they got hurt all over the place. And it was when Deebo Samuel got hurt, and they lost Trent Williams got hurt, and the Niners kind of struggled for a couple of games. They were like 5-3, and then they lost like 3 in a row, and they were like 5-6 or something like that, and they had to fight their way back into the playoffs from there. So it's nice to see them have a pretty easy time. But here's the other big my joke of the week. In fact, I feel terrible that Mike's not here because I wanted to see his expression on it. But the Cal Bears beat SMU.
Yep.
Which is an upset for Cal's purposes of cosmic proportions to them. Yeah. But when I was growing up, a friend of mine went to SMU and he left the T-shirt at the house. So I wore it one day and I wore it to school and somebody said, "Smoo?" And I said, "Yeah, Southern Methodist University. But he said, what's Smoo?" I said, "I don't know. What's Smoo with you?" And there's the joke of the week.
There you go.
You hit me with enough dad jokes. I've got to throw that one.
You changed it from snoo to
What's
Smoo.
Smoo with you? Yes.
It still works.
Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. I'm headed off to sunset. Did you see the Oregon versus Washington game and the helmet catch that they called not a catch?
You know what? For some reason, that one I missed. I saw some other stuff. Why did I miss that one?
Well, since you are glued to your computer anyway, go to YouTube and do Oregon helmet catch. Because I want to know if you consider this a catch or not. It'll only take you a second.
It's like the David Tyree one, huh?
It outdoes the David Tyree one.
Really?
But they didn't call it a catch. And I want to see why. They said he didn't have possession. And I want to see what you have to say about that, whether you think it was an actual catch or not. He comes up with the ball.
Yeah, okay, I'm watching it now. Oh, you know what? That would hit the ground. That's probably the reason.
But he held on to it the entire time. Graham doesn't cause a fumble. He never lost possessions of it. So if
the ground is sort of incidental to it, that's not supposed to.
Yes, he already had possession before he hits the ground.
I can see why
it doesn't come loose.
But I agree with you.
Well, they didn't call it a catch, and I think that's tragic. If he bobbled the ball at all, if there was a loss of contact, I totally understand that call, but he holds on to it the entire time. I don't see that being any different.
You're right. Yeah. Are they reviewable?
No. Well, yeah, it was reviewed.
Oh, yeah. I think.
And they said that was.
Yeah. Oh,
that was not a catch. I thought it was a spectacular catch. It could have been catch of the year if it's called complete.
Yeah.
And it may have had a big difference in how the outcome of the game, but. Obviously, that's one that gets away.
That is too bad. Too bad.
All right. Well, I'm glad I hipped you onto that one.
Yeah. Okay, and we already know your joke, so you can't use that one again. But I tell you what, I'll go ahead and give you my little joke here. So, a cop stopped me and said he was giving me a ticket for driving alone in a carpool lane, and I said, "You're going to feel really stupid when you look in the trunk."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually not so much a funny joke as it is a joke.
I heard that people are getting pulled over and being issued tickets to Tennessee Titan games as punishment.
Yeah. It's like when the New York Knicks were really bad. There was, someone broke into my car and I had two tickets on.
Yes.
When I went back, there were 4 tickets. Yeah.
Yes. God, no. As there are some teams that and there are a lot of really good teams in the NFL. Some teams are just falling apart, as you were mentioning. The Minnesota Vikings, who I think made the play where I forgot the quarterback's name for Minnesota, but when he threw away that pass because he was being tackled and it got intercepted and run back for a touchdown by Seattle, I was watching with my son and I said, that is exactly what you do not want to do when you're quarterback in a football game. And he's like, yeah, I mean, he should have gone down with the ball. He would have would have lost some yardage. I mean, and would have, and look, they lost 26-0. So it wasn't as if that was the only mistake they made. And again, my fantasy football team that has no luck that lost this week had to play against the Seattle defense. So that's the kind of luck they had. Yeah. And that pick for a touchdown winds up costing 8
and by the way, we always want to tell the audience that we're not responsible for any of these suggestions on fantasy football or betting in any way, shape, or form. Just to kind of remind you.
But no, and I don't want people to bet on sports at all. Fantasy is a completely different thing. The fantasy that I play is for no money. There's not there's a trophy at the end of the season, but it's not, and I know that there's some fantasy leagues where they actually make up like wrestling belts, like the actual pro wrestling, championships, and when you win it, the loser of the last year has to mail you the belt so that you wind up holding on to it for the next year, and displaying it against all your competition, Gotcha. But I'm not in one of those leagues. I'm in a faceless NFL fantasy league that there are like several million of, across the United States, and it's free. And if you win the Super Bowl, you get a chance to go to the Super Bowl, the actual real Super Bowl. But I've won 6 times and I've never come. They haven't even mailed me a T-shirt yet. So, yeah. So
okay, let's go to our first trivia question here. We have 2 that have to do with food, but this is a car question. What car brand has a prancing horse logo? What car brand has a prancing horse logo? All right, that's our trivia question. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Russell Jackman. Our first trivia question. What car brand has a prancing horse logo?
Well, I'm not entirely sure of what you mean, but I think that you're talking about the Ferrari logo, aren't you?
Yes,
okay, because there's also the Ford Mustang.
And the Mustang it's not prancing though. I think because isn't the Ferrari one?
I'm struggling in my mind to think what the Ford Mustang looks like. It's sort of like bucking. So I don't know if technically that.
Bucking is different than prancing. So, but you got it correct though. You did get it correct.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Have you noticed this year? I mean, it seems like there's been a lot more injuries in the NFL.
As a 49er fan, I'd say 100%. But I haven't seen any actual statistics that say this year more than others. But it really was terrible in the first 4 weeks of the NFL, like first 4 or 5 weeks. NFL, I think one issue is the shortened preseason, and guys are going full tilt now sooner, when the fact that they have to play 17 games, means that it's a bigger marathon. That's why I'm telling you that it bothers me when I see the Dolphins with their 72 Dolphins, whatever remaining 72 Dolphins, and they open a bottle of champagne when someone doesn't have an undefeated season. The idea of winning 17 games
versus 14.
Versus 14, adding 3 onto it. And to me, that's like, Cy Young celebrating his consecutive game complete games, record. I mean, the game has changed so much in the NFL.
Well, it's interesting because remember the Patriots actually did win 16 in a row.
Then I know. It was just they won 18 in a row, but they couldn't win 19.
They lost to the Giants, but and it's just whether you're a Patriots fan or not, it's almost like you almost wanted them to win just so that the Dolphins one wouldn't be. And I was a big Miami Dolphins fan back then, so I was really happy when they won the Super Bowl back in the 70s.
Well, I consider it 2 separate records. I mean, because technically. New England won more games in one season.
Correct. It's also like Roger Maris. It's so funny. The first year that they increase the number of games in the season is the year that he beats Babe Ruth's record.
Yeah, so it's hard to differentiate necessarily when the game changes that much. And again, there's records obviously in the book from the way baseball used to be versus how
Yeah.
baseball is now. That'll never happen. And I was talking a couple weeks ago about how AC Green played over 1,000, almost 1,200 games in a row, and
Yeah.
the idea of that with the NBA having mandatory rest periods and the scheduled days off for every major player pretty much on every team,
Yeah.
it'll never happen. I mean, the
Gotcha. Yeah.
closest they have now is someone who has maybe about 500 games in, but he won't play another 600 games before he has to take
Well,
one.
also, with other ways that games change, let's say for football, they are so, the way that you can't tackle the quarterback, roughing the passer, and pass interference and all that.
But it
They're,
hasn't helped keep quarterbacks from getting hurt. Look at Aaron Rodgers. You
yeah,
got piles
but,
driven in.
but what I'm getting at though is that because you have those rules, and I think that they're good for that reason. You don't want to see Mahomes hurt and all these other guys, but that also affects some of the records, right?
Of course it does. Yeah, and you just the ability to come back after injury is
Yeah.
much greater now than what it used to be. But still, there's plenty of guys. I mean, Joe Burrows just got back in the NFL after X number of weeks off. Brock Purdy is only playing his second game in a row now
Yeah.
after missing most of the season off. Bucky Irving, who sank one of my fantasy teams because I invested everything in him, just started playing after taking most of the season off. So, I mean,
What's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk?
uh, I'm hoping lightning that hits him every single day of the week till he's nothing but a burned cinder. I mean, he's another unfortunate victim of being picked highly in a Shanahan draft. His as many times as he's hit and struck pay dirt, he's also picked high and picked his high picks been a disaster. Ayuk was in the third round for the 49ers, and he's been bought out and shown the door, and he will play for the 49ers no more.
But who is he going to play for though? Still to be determined.
There's 29 other teams. I guess that's
But yeah, is he healthy yet?
he was supposed to play. His prognosis when he first got hurt was he'd be back by Thanksgiving of this year. But and that's the whole thing is that this whole off season and during this whole season he's been enigmatic as far as like saying, "Am I ready to play? Am I willing to play?" He didn't show up to team practices. He didn't show up to team meetings. And what are they going to do? He cost himself about $27 million for next year. He made a lot
I don't know him personally, and like you say, he's kind of enigmatic. I wonder if he's just really tentative because of the injury that he had of getting hurt again.
If you do, there's other ways you handle it than not showing up to team meetings. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
there's certainly ways he could have worked it out with the club. The team really needs him this year with all the injuries they have had. Although guys like Pearsall are finally coming back in. Kittle was out for a number of weeks. He's finally in. And gosh darn it, I mean, McCaffrey is one of the best offensive players in the league when it comes to, being able to catch passes.
What happened now? Debo Samuel, he got traded. I think
Washington.
Washington, yeah. Was it just like a contract dispute type of thing? That
No, they had enough of him. He made a big bellyache about not being involved in the offense last year. With McCaffrey hurt, he wanted a bigger role, but he didn't want to be a running back. He wanted to be a receiver. And so in one of the games, I believe it was against Indianapolis, or I'm trying to remember, they expressly went to him. They threw the ball to him a number of times,
Mhm.
and he dropped the ball. I mean, he dropped some wide open passes, and that was it. That was the love affair for San Francisco for Debo, who I thought was probably a better and more capable MVP of the league like 3 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl
Oh
than
yeah,
Aaron Rodgers was. I thought
yeah,
Debo had a better year than Aaron
sure.
Rodgers did.
Well, he was more versatile in for the team, what he could do.
Oh, he even threw a touchdown pass. I don't think you even remember.
Oh
He
yeah,
not
yeah,
only ran and received for a touchdown, but he also threw one.
doing yeah,
And yeah,
doing
I
well.
mean, he's having a great year, but his attitude was really bad. He had a holdout, remember, and he
Oh
didn't
yeah,
come back from the holdout really well. And most guys that hold out, it's
yeah.
rare for them to have a great season, like either during that holdout year or immediately after if they've held out for,
Yeah,
a
because I mean,
season.
that's also you got to figure with the rest of the team, they got to be a little frustrated with you too. Everyone sure they're out for their own paycheck, but it affects the whole team, and so
Absolutely.
yeah, it's tough.
It is, and the team goes. The next man thing is a reality, and so if you aren't there, the best ability is availability. I mean,
Yeah,
that is one that I've always used. It's a famous quote. Is
that's
that
true.
if you're not there, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're not
Yeah,
on the field or on the court or whatever in the arena, then
doesn't do
you
anybody any
can't do
good.
anything to help make the team better. And there's also the fact that okay, you look at a guy like Fred Warner. He's hurt, but he
Yeah,
travels with the team. He's there to
yeah.
give real moral support and to give guys pointers like when he sees stuff, he'll look over game
Well,
film and talk to
wait, no,
guys.
isn't he okay? But he generally is in the stands though, right?
Yeah, but then when he travels with them, and when they're on the
Yeah,
bus, when they're on the plane,
sure.
he talks to them about, hey, I was watching and saw this play happen, and
Yeah.
I saw that play happen.
Oh,
If you
that's
shore up
valuable.
this part of the side of the defense when the quarterback is starting to scramble, you'll catch him back. Whatever. The fact that he's there to be part of the team, as you were just saying, he's not holding out. He's not away. When you're away, you miss all those other things. Miss the
Sure.
camaraderie, and you miss being there. And it's a lot of times people are like, well, if you didn't help bake this cake, why do you get dessert? You know?
I like the way you put that. Okay, and when we come back, I do have a kind of a fun. This one actually is more of a feel good story. That's just I don't know for some reason it kind of touched me a little bit. Okay, well here's our second trivia question. What vitamin is known as the sunshine vitamin?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, well, okay, good. I'm glad you know this one.
I might
What
clean
vitamin-
sweep this one after the horrible Friends, the debacle with me and the Friends trivia last week.
Yes, exactly. I knew we had to make up for it. Now, the
Mix
next
it up.
question I have might be a little bit harder. I mean, it still has to do with vitamins. But this one is what vitamin is known as the sunshine vitamin? All right, audience, stay with us. When we come back, we're going to answer that trivia question and we're going to have a fun little feel good story. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Again, Mike McDowd is off today. Second trivia question: what vitamin is known as the sunshine vitamin?
Well, Mike McD would have been an easy answer. Would have probably had the answer to that question. But yeah, it's vitamin D.
Vitamin D, that is correct. Okay, now so here's our kind of a
Because
fun.
it's because your body processes other nutrients into vitamin D. It synthesizes vitamin D when you are in the sunshine. You didn't know about this, did you?
No, I didn't know that, but we
That's
have
what
a
it's called.
my
Yeah.
wife and I. We have this friend. She came from Russia, and her family is. It's kind of a sad. That part's kind of a sad story. Is her family in Russia? This is going back many, many, many years during the Cold War. Her neighbors wanted their apartment, so the lady who was the neighbor turned them in to the Kremlin for some bogus thing, and they sent the family off to Siberia. That's a real thing, sending off to Siberia so that, and the lady did that so that she could get her apartment. And so this lady was telling us that the whole has to do with vitamin D because of Siberia being the way it is. There's hardly any sunshine. They literally had to take vitamin D tablets.
Well, most people are vitamin D deficient, and they should
Yeah,
probably take a
that's
supplement too, because they
That's true.
spend so much time. I mean, you didn't need it in the old days when you're on the farm the whole
Yeah.
time working outdoors. But if you don't get outdoors much, and people should increase their amount of vitamin D over the winter time because you get less,
My wife was saying, like, when you first wake up, just go outside and just take in the sunshine.
yeah,
Yeah.
it helps, but you need a lot more than that to overset the vitamin D deficit most people have. It also helps you from getting sick. So I've always heard to take a supplement, and that's always good for you. All right, enough
Okay,
of
so
the health corner.
here's our feel good story. So there's a 25-year-old rapper, and he went back to college, and he plans to play for Syracuse football. He's 6'7", 270 pounds, so he'll be a force to reckon with. But it's kind of cool. Here's this guy. He's a rapper, and I guess he's pretty
Hey, maybe he
successful.
might have a career in wrestling, so don't count it out. If he's that
Oh,
big,
okay, you might have
that's
that also.
yeah. But,
Yeah.
a lot of football players, when they can't continue on, they wind up as wrestlers. That's a very
Mark Gastineau comes to mind.
Mark
And
Gastineau was a boxer. He actually didn't wrestle. But
oh
there's lots
yeah,
of other football players that have wound up from guys like Wahoo McDaniel to Ernie Ladd, the big cat Ernie Ladd went into wrestling. But you also have guys like Kevin Green, the late
oh
Kevin
yeah,
Green, wrestled, and Steve McMichael, also the late Steve
that's
Mongo
right. Yeah,
McMichael,
about those guys.
and Hacksaw Jim Duggan played for the Atlanta Hawks, I believe. And
Yeah, that's more basketball.
and no, I mean, I'm sorry, he played for the Falcons. He played for
Oh,
the Atlanta Falcons. And then you also have the Russ Francis was entered into
oh yeah, that's right.
WWF
I remember
Battle
Russ
Royale.
Francis.
And
Yeah,
his father was a great wrestler, actually,
yeah.
what most people don't realize. So,
No,
you know,
didn't know that part. So I just think it's kind of neat that you got this guy. He's 25 years old, and usually you graduate college when you're 21, 22. So I don't know if I didn't read. Are there any like rules that say that when you get to be a certain age, you're not allowed to?
no, it's really, does the coach think you can make the team? You know,
And
the
as long as you, I
coach,
guess, haven't played in professional football.
but I mean, a 27-year-old can compete with college students. We see it in the NBA all the time,
Oh, sure.
so yeah, physically. There's that movie that's coming out. I don't know if I think it's coming out this Christmas called The Jock. Have you heard of it?
Nope.
Which is this? It's got Michael Chiklis in it, and he's supposedly a guy who still has. I mean, it's a fictitious story, but
Okay.
it's about like a 50-year-old guy who joins a college football team because he still
Oh,
has
yeah.
eligibility left. He has
I
like
love
a
it.
redshirt eligibility, and so as a 50-year-old, he's going to try to compete with college students, and
You know
it's
what?
called the.
That kind of it's almost like George Foreman when he wasn't he 60 when his last boxing match?
Well, look at Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Look at Mike Tyson. Although I don't know if you watched that match at all, but it
Uh,
was
no,
terrible.
I heard he didn't look like the old Mike Tyson when he was 20.
No, but more than that, I mean, Logan Paul was just his boxing skills are non-existent, and as a person who grew up loving Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard and guys who were really talented in the ring, to see guys with basically a pro wrestling level of skill at boxing, getting in the ring. Even Mike Tyson, his skills have just deteriorated so much. But he was still a lot better than Logan Paul, who really looked like some guy that you would find at a YMCA gym practicing boxing. He has no skill at all, and he spent more energy coming to the ring in this gigantic limousine that took like 45 minutes at like it was going at like 0.00001 mile per hour. Yeah, really. I mean, I think it may still be driving back from the ring already. Yeah, it hasn't driven back from the ring yet. And that was like 2 years ago. So
You're
I don't
you're
know.
a pro guy.
That's the thing. And as a wrestling fan, I was saying, look, this is too much showboating. And I'm a
Yeah,
wrestling fan, you
yeah,
know. And
I hear you.
by the way, the
Hey,
WWE had another pay-per-view and I didn't watch it. So
let's
it's
move on to a little basketball. So OKC, are they destined to repeat? And how many wins you think?
the Warriors have to play them tomorrow. The Warriors have to play them tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it.
Curry is hurt
It's
still.
Curry's is hurt, but more importantly, they are a modern day juggernaut. If you extrapolate it over the 82 games, they would be like 78-4. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what's scary about them is that they're looking like they could be a nearly 80-win team. You
What
know,
was the Warriors' record when they
73 wins.
and that was the record, right?
Yeah, but it wound up exhausting them, and
Yeah.
they couldn't finish. It's just like the New England thing. It was just like New England couldn't win the game that mattered, which was the Super Bowl, and the Warriors couldn't win Game 7, and they were the first team to lose a 3-1 advantage in the
That
finals.
still frustrates
And
me.
of course, the Draymond Green, foul thing, which was,
Yeah.
yeah, he's lived it. It's such a big what if because if the Warriors had won a back-to-back title, okay,
Yeah.
against Cleveland,
Yeah.
the pressure to keep everyone together for a third title would have been phenomenal, and they would have never gotten Kevin Durant. So that's like one of the big sports what ifs of all time. I would love to. In Marvel Comics, they used to do this thing called What If. They
Oh,
would,
yeah.
say like, what if someone else found the hammer of Thor, or what if, the Hulk had Dr. Bruce Banner had not been the Hulk, or if certain things had happened, like different.
Wasn't that also the finals where LeBron blocked at the rim?
He goaltended that, and I will go. There are two sports absolutes that I feel were the worst calls in sports. That was a goaltend by LeBron. He hits it after the ball contacts the backboard, and if you hit the ball after it hits the backboard, that is a goaltend. And the second one is Kirk Gibson's court's bat. That home run that he hit was a court's bat. I will go to my grave swearing that.
As one-handed with a bad leg, and it was off the wrong foot.
Edward,
right?
do you know that bat has disappeared
Weird.
and has
I remember.
never been accounted for? It was taken immediately off the field and has disappeared literally off the face.
A coincidence. Somebody wanted to, make it so that they can
home run. I've seen home runs before. I've seen home runs after, and that was the like most awkwardly swung bat to hit a home run, and it hits the end of the bat, which is where court would be.
Like a 99-mile-an-hour fastball where all you had to do is hit it, right? I mean, Eckersley was not a big fastball pitcher. In fact, it was off. It was a hitter. So
absolutely, and it was far. It was outside. He was leaning over, and his body mechanics showed nothing. But you know what? It turns out now LA doesn't need any of that. They don't need any cork bats. They've got they've got a cork lineup is what they have. So I'm not the furthest we can get away from baseball happening, the better I am. I think that I'm not looking for the first time. It's in December, and I don't care about I'm not looking forward to spring training or anything dealing with baseball. No, I'm clinging to
LA won.
They're going to win again. They're going to win again. They're going to win 3 in a row. They're going to win 3 in a row. You heard it here first.
That hasn't
from a
happened since
Giants
the
fan.
80s, right? In 2000?
Yeah, and I just the LA is going to be just so insufferable. It's bad enough the Rams are playing so well, but thank God they lost to Carolina yesterday. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Another one of those any given Sunday
Carolina's
things. I mean,
kind of creeping up just a little bit.
but how this is why you don't bet on football. Because I
Yeah.
mean, who would have bet on Carolina unless you're a Carolina fan?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
would bet
Now,
on
speaking
Carolina?
of betting, is there any update on the sports betting scandals that you know
You
of?
know that sports wants it to just go away and to
Yeah.
just shove it under the rug. And I hate to say this because we don't want to make it too political, but your buddy Trump doesn't like to see any big business suffer, so he's not going to pursue it very hard with his department since he's in charge of the Department of Justice. He's just going to let
Yeah,
this fat.
I guess that would be a Department of Justice issue, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's not going to pursue it. He's not going to put much on it because he's got other things that he's worried about. So this is going to be one where baseball is just and Major League Sports is just going to slide on by, and it's going to be let's not regulate big business. Big business can take care of itself. But when it comes
What
to
about that? What
gambling,
about like is Chauncey Billups? I mean, he's been dismissed, hasn't he?
yeah, but
Yeah.
there's rumors that it goes a lot deeper than that. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see the federal government unless the NBA decides to pursue it itself for its own reasons. I don't see the Department of Justice getting involved in this and making this a big deal, which it should be because there's maybe hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars involved.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, it's something that they definitely have to. They can't just sweep that under the rug. I mean,
I'm just
it's
telling
really,
everyone, all the listeners, don't bet on sports. Just go have poker games at your house. If you need the gambling so badly, buy yourself
again,
one of those.
we don't suggest doing anything illegal.
Okay,
So
buy yourself one of those slot machine, like little coin slot
yeah.
machine banks that you don't lose any money because you can go to the back of it and just grab your money out of it. But those little slot machine banks, do that.
There you go. Okay. Third trivia question: which fruit contains more vitamin C than an orange? All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. And our third trivia question: which fruit contains more vitamin C than an orange?
That actually is a good question. I'm gonna say strawberries.
No, it's a fruit that you wouldn't think of. I mean, when you hear it, you'll go, "Oh, that is a fruit."
Tomato?
What? Not a tomato. No,
Not tomato.
no, and not a potato. 'Cause
Pineapple?
no, a kiwi.
Huh? No, I
Kiwi.
wasn't. I wasn't going there.
Yeah, isn't that strange? Kiwis got
Yeah.
kiwis. Maybe, but the thing is, maybe you have to eat the skin. I don't know. I don't want to eat the skin. Okay,
Yes.
are you okay? You ready?
50 million or 500 million Australians can't be wrong.
That's true. A kiwi is normally New Zealand, I think, isn't
New
it?
Zealand, but they have plenty. They eat plenty of those, I'm sure, in
I'm sure,
Australia.
I'm sure they do. That's why they call them kiwis,
Yes.
New Zealanders. Okay, are you ready for our thoughts of the day? You ready for this one?
Never.
So, the people of Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people of Abu Dhabi do.
Abu Dhabi too.
Abu Dhabi do. Okay, now this one, you're gonna have to answer me this one.
Wherever you
This one.
found that one, put it back. That's what I gotta
Okay,
say about it.
all right, I'll put that one back. Good thing Mike's not here. He would hate that one. Okay. Now, the fact that there's a highway to hell and a stairway to heaven says a lot about anticipated traffic numbers.
Sure, and people are definitely wanting to get to hell fast enough so they can make the reservations, get a good
Yeah.
seat, get a
Well,
good
isn't
seat.
isn't that what Jesus said? He goes, "Narrow is the way to narrow is the way to heaven, and few pass through it, and wide is the gateway to hell." Basically, okay. So you've got that correct. All right, audience, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best. We'll see you next week.
Adios and happy holidays to everyone.